welcome to episode 123 of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carso in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Joined by the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, buddy. Episode 123, for those of you listening to episode 123, I finally have been able to show the episode in my fingers by raising one finger, then two fingers, then three fingers. It's been a long run, but that's a bucket list thing for me. Unless we get to episode 1234, which is possible. It's going to be a while before I get to do that again. So the little things in life, Ray, that you got to celebrate. That's one of them. I'm actually happy. This is going to be a good episode because it's basically all geekdom and then football. So you kind of win tonight. Most of the topics are very uplifting and fun. And most of them prove that Ray and I were right.
Yes.
I'm not being humble about that at all. This is
we were right.
Yeah.
It uplifts us.
It uplifts us. It makes me feel like if you listen to the show, you should feel uplifted. All right, but no, I'm looking forward. We actually again just kind of it's a little bit different than normal shows. It's a lot of anticipation and a lot of great conversation, and then getting to discuss football. A lot of fun things happen in NFL Week 1. Looking towards NFL Week 2. So I'm ready to go. No,
for sure. Like Lee said, we got a big show for you folks. We got a couple of trailers. We got a lot of football. We got a fun mashup. We've got a full chat here in Twitch as we're also doing this live. Of course, if you're listening to us after the fact, we appreciate you just as much. If you want to feel like you're part of the discussion, we had a fun we do a pre-show and a post-show on Twitch. The pre-show question for Twitch was what's the best stadium food that you've had? And then Lee and I went on rants. Well, I went on a rant basically bashing Dodger Stadium because it is overrated. But we'd love to know what you guys think at home.
Did they do anything good in Dodger Stadium? I'm not saying that sarcastically. I mean, I'm asking honestly. I'm not from there. So.
They have a good like pulled pork nacho kind of thing. You know, okay. Casey mentioned that in chat that you guys do I think in Philly.
So my pick for those of you listening was the French dip at Madison Square Garden. You could screw up a French dip. All right. And that thing is delicious. I mean, it's I remember the first time someone told me to get that because that was actually the first time I got something that wasn't just like from the dog and the burger stand. Because it's expensive and it's worth every penny. And I got it and I was like, my God, you're right. I mean, it was unbelievably good. But I expect nothing less from New York, to be honest with you. Right. So
New York, to me, New York stadiums easily trump all the LA stadiums that I've been to in terms of food. I mean, again, I'll say it again. I don't care. We're going to record it for posterity here. Dodger dogs are terrible. They are the most overrated hot dog I've ever had in my life. I love hot dogs. I live for hot dogs. Dirty Water Dogs in New York City are still, or Ruts Hut in New Jersey, or even a couple other places here in LA. Dodger dogs are at the bottom of the list. It's like In-N-Out. They are the most overrated in their food category. They are there because most folks in LA just don't know there's better things out there. Well, this is all they have, and they think it's great because they're in LA.
Randall Begins, one of our listeners, will enjoy this segment. It's like fast food, right? You look at the fast food chains. Look, I enjoy a Big Mac. I do, but it's not the best hamburger from a fast food place. All right. I enjoy it, but it's not the best. If I had to pick one, best hamburger, I'd probably go with Burger King. Right. Yes. With that said, best chicken nuggets, probably go with Wendy's. Best fries, I think McDonald's wins fries pretty hands down.
McDonald's does win fries, right? Yeah, McDonald's does win fries.
So it's one of those things of like everybody does their thing, and like chicken sandwich is Chick-fil-A if you go there, right? Although a lot of people are starting to catch up.
I prefer Popeyes personally. Actually,
yes, I'm going to disagree with you on that one, but I understand why you like Popeyes.
I love Popeyes. I can't get it. Right. And not just, I will say maybe the chicken sandwiches.
That's what I'm talking about. The chicken sandwich.
Because to me, the chicken overall, though, is Popeyes.
Oh, no. I'm not talking chicken. I am just talking chicken sandwich right now. All right. Chicken overall, I have an outlier that everybody on the East Coast will agree with and go, oh, that place. I love that place.
And what place? Like Bojangles or something?
No, Roy Rogers.
Checkers?
Roy Rogers.
Oh man, yeah. See? Wow, I haven't had Roy Rogers in. I haven't had Roy Rogers in forever. Yeah, there's only a few of them left.
Yeah, it seems like the only place you can find him is at 95 rest stops in the East Coast.
Yeah,
but Roy Rogers is always the best fried chicken to me. It makes KFC look horrible. But like I said, every place has something. But listen, a Whopper, that's the best fast food hamburger in my opinion. I mean, it's just there's something about it. All right. Big Mac has got its own little place, but it's really the sauce that you like, right? In my opinion, it's not the meat.
Yeah.
So it's just, every place has its little thing, but we want to know what you think. Thanks so much for watching episode 123. I'm Lee.
No. Wait. We got a whole show for you, folks. We wanted to kick things. we wanted to include obviously the folks listening after the fact. Yeah, that like, you know, we had a good fun chat here on Twitch. We wanted, of course, include the folks listening after the fact. You know, which again, because we appreciate you guys just as much, and it is a fun conversation. We could dissect this. We could do a whole special.
I'm expecting Randall to give his look. Randall's one of the last few people on earth that still posts what he eats, and I want to know his thoughts on this. All right, because here's the thing, Randall. I'm not making fun of you. If you're gonna do it, let's enable you, and you tell us what you like, because I've seen what you eat, and I want to know what you think. You are someone who knows the fast food chains. I'm not making fun of you. I'm being honest. You have clear thoughts on each one of them. I will say this though, Ray. When it comes to frozen drinks, a lot of people like icy. Slurpee kills icy.
Yeah.
Icies are good.
Yeah,
I like icy. I'll get an icy. Slurpee is the way to go. That's it.
Slurpee, I agree completely. I agree. 7-Eleven Slurpee.
So when we die and go to heaven, they're gonna say, "Here's a Slurpee with a Whopper, McDonald's French fries, and Wendy's chicken nuggets, and a variety, a smorgasbord of dipping sauces for whatever you want."
There you
and
go.
A chicken
yeah,
sandwich.
not gonna get charged extra in heaven for dipping sauces.
No.
Actually, it's funny. But no, yeah, what was it? Actually, I had fast food today for lunch. I had to go to the doctor this morning, and so I rewarded myself after a somewhat painful procedure. I'm not doing better, by the way, but we'll talk more about it later. It's a minor thing. I hurt my hand. I had to have a steroid injection.
You're the second person I know that has hurt his hand today. I'm not kidding. That's funny. That's weird.
There you go. So, but yeah, long story short is I went to Wendy's. I got that new big cheddar baconator where there's cheddar on the bun. Yeah. It was not great. It was not great. Not gonna lie. There's a lot of other things at Wendy's. There's a lot of other things I like at Wendy's that is, and it's not that. Look, but I tried it. The advertising worked. I tried it.
Last note on this. Okay. You can do too much, right? Like bacon's awesome. Cheeseburgers are awesome. Bacon cheeseburgers are awesome. You can't go beyond that, right? It's like cake, right? Like, Ray, what's your favorite type of cake?
Just chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake, right? And maybe you put a little chocolate syrup on top, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
Or actually, you know what? What's good is in the inside you have like a fruit filling, right? Like a cherry, or a strawberry.
Then you put whipped cream on top of it, and then on top of the whipped cream you put a little caramel cut, and then on top of that it's too much. You can kill it.
No, you're trying to be too much.
You can kill it, right? So when I say like bacon, this, and that, that's like no. If it's just a bacon cheeseburger, which by the way is by far the best of the burgers.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't kill it. I'm sorry, I lied. Yeah. Last thing. All right, I told a lie. It happens. It wasn't intentional. Last thing on this subject. When I lived in Florida, well, you have to hear about this, Rick, because this is incredible. All right, when I lived in Florida, as a place I used to go, the name of it will come to me in a minute. Amazing Irish bar and burger place and steak place. Amazing. All right, it was one of the best I've ever been to in my life. In fact, hanging from the ceilings are $1 bills, and there's over $1 million in $1 bills hanging from the ceiling. That's how amazing this place was. You've probably been there. You probably went there at my wedding.
Wow.
Okay. And they have a thing called the garbage burger. All right. And read it, and it's like 20 toppings, and you think there's no way they can get this thing. And then they bring it out. I have a friend of mine, God rest his soul, his name was Herm. He ordered this thing, and it came out. And Ray, I'm not kidding. It was 10 to 12 inches tall with everything they said on top of it. I couldn't believe they did that. And I remember telling Herm, and Ray, it was like anchovies, ice cream, wasabi, everything you can think of was on this burger. Right.
Okay. That doesn't sound very
well, I'll tell you what, Herm ate the whole thing. And that was just Herm, man. It's like he was going to do something. He was going to do it. But I'm like, I don't even know how you fit this thing inside your body. That's how big this thing was. He ate the whole thing. Wasabi, ice cream, all of it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's called the Garbage Burger. And it's killing me that I can't think of the name right now of the place. But it was unbelievable. It was just an incredible place. I'm going to look it up while you talk and buy me 10 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's all good. So again, we're going to get into the actual show now. One of the big things, not an easy transition from fast food to video games.
McGuire's Irish Pub. There you go.
That's right. I did go there. That's right. I had the Irish Wake, which was that.
Yes, I've had many of those.
Was that concoction in a glass jar,
right,
of all kinds of alcohol and fruit juice, and it was actually very, very good.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was right for your bachelor party. That's right. We ended up
wedding party. Like we just went there to eat.
Or wedding party. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, there we go. We got his Irish pub. Hey, we'll take you guys as a sponsor too. But yeah, no, we got a big show for you guys. We got a lot to talk about. The biggest thing of the week is that we talked about it last week. We mentioned it, a preview. What is Sony going to do? They said they had an answer finally for Microsoft. They said they were ready to go. They had a 40-minute show last week. And folks, I'm not going to lie. Not only did they do exactly what we said they were going to do, but they also delayed a lot of stuff. And that worries me as a gamer because Microsoft is coming out guns a-blazing, we know, for the next 12 months, nonstop. Yeah. Whereas Sony is like, our big tentpole stuff is now years away. Years. And that worries me. Again, they had some big things. They had a couple of surprises, some fun stuff. But the worst part of it is most of the show is either remakes, third-party stuff that is not exclusive to Sony, or stuff that's not coming out until at least 2023. That's a bad sign, guys. Look, those games are going to sell. The games are going to be awesome. No doubt about it. We're going to get into them now. But the fact that Sony doesn't have any real big top of mind games aside from Horizon coming out next year, that's worrisome. Lee, do you have any general thoughts on the show before we get into the specifics of what they showed off?
I mean, it's tough to get into it without the specifics. I'll just say, look, there were some eyebrow raisers in a good way. Like, oh, that's cool. They're doing that until you find out when they're going to be released. They have to release their version of GameStop of Game Pass. They have to get there. And I'm starting to believe that they're not going to get there. So nothing for me other than the Sony, the people from Sony, the lovers of Sony, the lovers of PlayStation that listen to this show, they continually fight me on this. It's getting less and less. There's less and less oxygen in the room to prove me wrong. I always say this. I'm not against PlayStation, but PlayStation is playing really poorly right now, and it does not look like they're going to survive this much longer.
They seem tone deaf to the way things are going. Like right now, the big rumor is that they're working on the PS5 Plus or PS5 Pro that'll support 8K. Is there even 8K televisions out there yet? Like, I mean, at this point, like
they're thinking
it
ahead.
feels like, real far ahead. They might not get that far ahead. Look. So let's start off with what they started the show off with. This was something I had been hearing in the rumor mill for months that might have been in the works. And I'm excited to see it was confirmed. Not excited to hear that it's not very far along in production, which again just seems to be Sony's MO with this show. But Knights of the Old Republic, finally, after 20 years, almost 20 years, is getting a full-blown, rebuilt from the ground up remake. One of the best, if not the best, Star Wars game ever made. It's definitely on the top 5 list from almost every Star Wars gamer out there. It was originally done by BioWare. These guys are experts at RPGs. The company who's redoing it are great at remasters. I'm excited for this, but chances are we're at least a year away from it coming out. But again, very pumped up. Great to hear that this is a Star Wars exclusive to Sony. Great to see that relationship, and great to see, again, even though it's a remake, it is one of the greatest games of all time, and a whole new generation now will get to experience this game for the first time.
So what I'd ask you about this, Ray, is this, okay? As a Star Wars fan, I think it's great too. It was a great game. No problem with that coming out again. In terms of it being a Sony exclusive, which again, don't have a problem with it, but it's like, is that remaking the game that big of a deal? Now, with that said, I remember when Resident Evil was remade, I had my reservations of, are people really going to play this? And they did. It did well. So we'll see if do you think, is what I'm throwing this to you, do you think this is Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 remake level status? Do you think the game's too old? Because it doesn't have the following that Resident Evil has, even though people love it.
That's true.
Right.
That's
so,
true. KOTOR has not had.
Yeah. I mean, we're saying for a new generation.
KOTOR's not been in the mind. It's not been not in the mind's eye for the last 20 years, like Resident Evil has.
Unless he shows up in The Mandalorian, which is impossible. Right. So unless that stuff starts happening, it's possible it might show up in another one of the shows. But Resident Evil, everybody knows that's been continuing. I mean, if you're a newer Star Wars fan, you're not thinking about Knights of the Old Republic. You're thinking about Fallen Order, right? And you want that game
Fallen Order too. Yeah.
Right. So it is a great game. All right. And I'm not rooting against it. I actually hope it does really well. Again, I'm not against Sony. I'm not against PlayStation, but to me that like I said, it should be an afterthought of, oh yeah, we're doing this too. It's like we're leading with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, Casey says it in chat, their biggest news was the remake. And I wouldn't say their biggest news, but like definitely in terms of the stuff that's coming out soon, right? Like KOTOR remake is probably Q4 next year or Q1 the year or 2023, right? And like the fact that that's what you led your show with, and there's sentimental value, but like you said, I think that it's not a system seller. You know what I mean? Like I think it'll do well. Yeah. I think it'll do well, but I don't know if it'll do as well as the Resident Evil remakes. I think that's actually a great comparison, Lee. I think that's even though I would say there's more Star Wars fans than Resident Evil fans, but like I don't know a lot of Star Wars fans are going to get a PS5 for this.
Resident Evil is an active franchise, and excuse me, with I want to say this right, because Star Wars is obviously an active franchise too. Like this Resident Evil is an active franchise. Like you could justify going back because like we were on Resident Evil 6, 7, 8 already at that point, and people were like, well, okay, well, I'd love to play the originals again. We did it. There is no continuation of the Knights of the Old Republic outside comic books. Right. So that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we'll see. Look, I hope it catches an audience. I mean, God knows Sony knows how to remake games in a cool way. Right. So, but here's the thing. I also don't think that stays on Sony exclusively for long, if that's the case.
I don't think so either. I would not be surprised at all if Disney's like, this is a timed exclusive and it goes to Xbox and Switch at a later date. Right. There's also that could happen sooner than we think. Like they only showed us a teaser. They didn't show a lot of information or anything. So again, that's why I think this game's at least a year away, if not more.
And teaser. Everything. Well, and that's the thing. All the big announcements were far away and frankly unoriginal in a lot of ways, but awesome to see, but unoriginal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. And the other things that are coming up are all not Sony exclusives, right? Like, so we had Rainbow Six Quarantine, we had the new Guardians of the Galaxy game, we had Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is a spinoff of Borderlands. Those are all dropping on Xbox and some of them also on Switch, day and date with Sony. Like they're third-party non-exclusives, and those kinds of games were the bulk of the show. Like for them, I mean, when you're touting and not even saying timed exclusive or DLC exclusive, there was nothing exclusive about them. Yeah. That's worrisome when that's the bulk of your 40-minute answer to Xbox. You know what I mean? So this was worrisome. Again, I'm going to get Tiny Tina's Wonderlands as a day one purchase. I love the Borderlands series. I'm going to get it. Rainbow Six Quarantine, I'm on the fence about because to me, that's not what they're doing. It's not Rainbow Six in my opinion. And I'm going to get Guardians day and date. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get them on Xbox because there's more incentive for me to get them on Xbox than there is with Sony. Like again, if I even get Rainbow, I don't think I'm going to get Rainbow Six. I'm going to tell you folks that my honest opinion, I think this game's probably going to be a pass, but that's just me. And then you had their other big games, which they're big hitters, right? These are the ones that everyone was waiting for. We know Horizon is coming at the end of Q1, right? Which is, of course, is a big deal. That's going to probably be their flag bearer for 2022. They also did, hey, we're doing another Uncharted collection. Yay. Great. Like you're re-releasing for the third time a collection of games that we've already played several times before. Great games, amazing games. It's not a good sign when you're going back to the stuff from the PS2, PS3, PS3 specifically generation and remaking it again for the third time at this point, or second time remaking them. And then there are other ones were Marvel properties. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, that led into what we knew was hoping to come and get more information from was Insomniac Spider-Man 2, which is the direct sequel from a game a couple years ago. And of course, the Miles Morales game, which was kind of an adjunct. They're coming together. They showed off a trailer, no gameplay. The trailer hinted at Kraven the Hunter, which makes me excited. And of course, revealed what many of us suspected was going to happen anyway, Venom. So Venom will be in the game. We don't know, though, if Venom is playable. We don't know if he's a bad guy. We don't know if Spidey gets the black suit first. How they're going to introduce Eddie Brock. We don't know. We all we know is that Miles and Peter are both in the game again. You're going to probably get to play as both of them in this universe. And that's really it. The worst solid info we got for this game was that it's been delayed again to 2023. Probably Sony's most anticipated game outside of God of War and Horizon has been delayed to at least another full year. So that's not good. People are like, oh, I'm going to buy a PlayStation for this. Like, you'll be able to, and probably in 2023, and it'll probably be half what it costs right now.
Yeah, or it'll be a new version of the same system.
Yeah, or you'll have your PS5 Pro out at that point. And then the other thing they showed off at that point was a teaser, a very much a big teaser for
an unoriginal
a Wolverine
teaser.
game.
A super unoriginal teaser. But by the way, so personally, love Wolverine. But for those of you who don't know, Wolverine's my favorite comic book character. He has been for a long time. My son's name is Logan, to show the dedication there. It was cool to see. It was a cool reveal. There was nothing original about it.
No,
for those of you who didn't see it,
I knew it was happening before I even saw this.
It's a scene we've seen at least 10 times in X-Men lore, which is Wolverine's in a bar, someone's mad trying to kill him, and the claws come out.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, what else are you supposed to do? There's a lot you could do.
You could do 100 different things, and they went with the same old song.
I also
not to say I'm not excited.
I also love when it says right before not actual gameplay. I'm like, great. So they announced it. It's cool. Wolverine's getting his own game. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's way overdue.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time he had a game? It was a Super NES, maybe.
It's been, maybe Wolverine X-Men Origins in Xbox 360, which actually, I'll say this, the game was better than the movie. The game was far better.
I remember watching you play that in your mom's basement, now that I think about it.
Yeah, the game was actually better than the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. The last great Wolverine game was probably Super NES or Sega, like in the side scrolling.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a real good one. I mean, and the thing is, it's the same developer, it's Insomniac, so it makes you think that they'll probably be in the same universe with Spidey, but Spider-Man 2 has a solid date. Wolverine got a teaser. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, at the earliest, Wolverine will be 2024. Their big surprise of the show is 3 years away.
Yeah. How about
Think about that.
How much you want to bet that that's debuting at the same time he debuts in the theaters?
That I could see that kind of synergy. That would be smart.
Right.
That would be smart. I don't know. Marvel's smart enough. Marvel and Disney are smart enough to do that. So I wonder again, it's curious to see, because Insomniac's obviously they're going to be on a timeline. They're going to have to.
There's no way Sony can do that stuff without talking to Disney right now with what's going on. If they do, they're going to be in deep poop.
Yeah, no, for sure. A couple of folks in chat, Casey mentioning some delays. Yeah, a couple of delays. We'll mention it. Lee wanted to mention something. Star Wars Hunters was delayed till 2022, which is kind of the online versus free-to-play Fortnite clone for Star Wars. New Battlefield has been delayed a month. Not really worried about that. That's standard stuff to be like, hey, we realize we probably need to boost the servers and stuff before we launch.
So it's funny, but I have a feeling we might have the same answer on this. Also, we give a shout out to Kunos19. It says first time in the live stream. Welcome aboard.
Yeah,
guys.
welcome.
It's good to have you here, buddy. So watch that. I want to see if we align on this. So the most anticipated game of the next 12 months is for you.
Now, most anticipated game.
I think I'm going to say it, and you're going to agree with me.
Say it. Say what you're thinking.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I
think that is the most.
It's up there.
Title.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Well, it's either that or honestly, you look at the next. Here's the thing. When I think of the biggest games that are coming in the next 12 months, probably the 5 biggest games. Turtles is up there. I'll give Sony credit. Horizon 2 is there.
Sure.
Forza Horizon. Different Horizon. Forza Horizon, which is Microsoft's racing game, that's up there. Halo 6 is up there.
Right.
And I mean, those are probably the big ones. And again, 3 of those 4 are on Microsoft. So
what do you think the big holiday release is? The holiday leader here.
I think it's going to be your usual suspects with you're going to have Call of Duty, Call of Duty Vanguard. You're going to have Halo. Halo has got day and date. Halo's dropping the end of November. Yeah, and Forza, honestly, the biggest games are either third-party non-exclusives or Xbox exclusive.
Would you say that this is the lowest anticipated holiday in your recent memory? Keeping in mind that the new systems came out last year. So, I mean,
2022 is going to be a better year than 2021. A lot of these games got delayed terribly because of the pandemic. So a lot of these games that were supposed to release this holiday are now releasing somewhere in 2022. Darkstroke mentions Far Cry in October. Far Cry is fine. Darkstroke, it's an acquired taste from Ubisoft. Far Cry 6, I think it'll probably be the best one with Giancarlo Esposito as the bad guy.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's amazing. I think he's fantastic. I look forward to playing it, but do I look forward to that more than Halo? No. Do I look forward to that more than Horizon Zero Dawn 2? I forget what it's called. Forbidden West. Forbidden West is what the new one's called, the sequel. No. Do I look forward to that? You know, so I mean,
next holiday you're looking at. I mean, is the new Zelda coming out next holiday? Yeah, I mean, Zelda. Yeah. You've got. I mean, there's the potentially a new Star Wars game, although nobody really knows.
Zelda, potentially Star Wars, Gears 6, potentially I hear is in the rumor mill. Injustice 3, I hear is in the rumor mill.
That would be unbelievable if they could hide that. You know,
yeah. So we'll supposedly this is a big thing as you mentioned. There was a massive leak this week, including supposedly in the listing for Injustice 3. I think it's called Gods Now Fall, because remember the first game was called Gods Among Us, Injustice Gods Among Us, I think. And then so I think that's a rumor.
They're
Nothing's
making a
been
show
confirmed
too about that, aren't they? Making like an
anime? They made an animated movie for it,
that
actually.
Should be good. That's a storyline.
Yeah, we'll probably get more about all of this. I wouldn't be surprised if when DC does its fandom again in October. Fandom. Yeah, we'll talk about that when that happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's if that's when they do reveal. If they're gonna do an Injustice game, that's when they'll probably reveal it.
Right.
So, Darkstroke also mentions there could be co-op in Spider-Man 2. Darkstroke, that's fine. Miles and Peter playing at the same time. Nobody knows. That's the thing. Nothing's been confirmed. These are all just rumors. Honestly, I'd rather play a Spider-Man game by myself personally, but that's me. Like, to me, co-op with Peter and Miles is not a selling point. Like, show me the villains, show me gameplay. You know what I mean? Like, but for some that might be, and that's cool. You know, if it is for you, and if that rumor ends up being true, great. You'll find out in earliest a year and a half, which again brings us to our point here as we wrap up the Sony segment. This is a problem to me. Your biggest tentpole titles are all at least 18 months away. In that time, Microsoft is releasing Starfield and Halo, and they're leaning into their Bethesda exclusivity. Game Pass, the last two games two of the last three games they hit Game Pass are Game of the Year contenders. Psychonauts 2 and the Artful Escape. Artful Escape is an Xbox exclusive, but Psychonauts 2 is on every system, and Microsoft's giving it away for free. Well, not for free, your subscription, obviously part of the subscription.
It's free.
It's basically, yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, and that's again goes back to our earlier point, is that the fact that Sony didn't announce a Game Pass style service.
I can't believe.
Yes, you get free games on PS Plus, but they are not at the caliber of what Microsoft is releasing on Game Pass. Microsoft is releasing AAA award-winning games left and right. 90% of the games that Microsoft is releasing between July and December, which is 30 games, 27 of those 30 games, that's 90% for you math majors out there, are releasing on Game Pass. And Sony has no answer.
I'm going to say this 12th to 20,000th show in a row. All right. The future is in streaming and VR. All right. So unless Sony has some VR thing up their sleeve, this is what I think is going to happen again. I'm going to even expand it. The Sony PlayStation will no longer be a system probably in the next console run, or that will be their last console. I believe this is going to be the last console. I believe, and people are going to laugh at me right now, Ray, I'm going to say it. I believe that Oculus by Facebook and Netflix are going to become the new head-to-head battlers of Microsoft and Game Pass. Streaming services are not new. They are clearly the future. Clearly. It's not. They're pretty much the present, actually. Let's be honest about it. Netflix is going to come out heavy hitting, and Oculus at some point will become mainstream. That's their future of gaming. It's not Sony. I'm sorry. Sony has fallen off wayside big time. And I think, to be honest with you, Sony fans, they are just trying to get every dollar they can out of you right now while you're still giving it up. That's what I think is happening.
Sony, well, it's not like Sony's going to go under. I think Sony, like
Sony
you said,
Yeah.
Right. But I think they'll become either, if not a developer, but obviously Sony always prides itself on pushing tech. So you could see them probably be a tech provider for some of these other companies.
Sure.
I agree, though. I think the Netflix gaming, folks, is going to change the face of everything when that drops.
Yeah.
They're starting with mobile games, but they've already said they do plan on expanding into more console caliber and PC caliber games.
Well, and here's the other thing.
And
here's the other thing. Yeah. Netflix is going to go after some of these exclusives. Let me ask you a question. You know, I know Sony owns the right to Spider-Man and everything, right? What's a better home, Sony, Disney, or Netflix? I mean, this is not going to last forever, right? So, and again, I know it's not that simple, but I'm just saying, like, look, Netflix has got properties too. They're buying properties up left and right.
Yeah.
Think about this. They could make games of their shows. I mean, there's so much they could do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into what Netflix's latest thing that they just did. Actually, we can squeeze that in here because it's a small thing, but it is a fun thing. Hayley Atwell, of course, who plays Peggy Carter in the Marvel Universe, and great actress. She has been cast as the new Lara Croft in the new Netflix anime series based on the game. That's a big deal. I mean, yeah, absolutely amazing casting, absolutely phenomenal. Super looking forward to it. But like you said, Netflix can come at you now with TV and video games. It is a 1-2 punch. They tie it together. They're already doing that with Castlevania and The Witcher. Now Lara Croft. It's do not sleep on Netflix. And if Sony gets caught sleeping, they're in a lot of trouble.
Watch this. You want me to play out a futuristic thing for you, Ray, that might make sense? I'll let you. I'll do it in questions for you. You won't have a problem, right? Who made The Witcher?
Who made The Witcher? So CD Projekt Red.
Who's in
the game?
Deep poop right now?
CD Projekt Red.
Who would need a thing like Netflix to release a new Witcher game?
CD Projekt Red.
Oh man,
that might be.
Can you imagine if they released The Witcher on Netflix, and then they go, "Oh hey, look, we remade what's it called?" Okay, I already forgot the name of it. Cyberpunk, but now it's good on Netflix. Yeah. Reborn. Yeah. I mean, that's what I would do. If I was CD Projekt Red right now, I'd go to Netflix on my knees and beg them, please put The Witcher 4 out on Netflix. We'll give you exclusivity. I mean, you're telling me people wouldn't be like, whoa? It's like,
release it alongside season 2 or season 3 or whatever. Like,
probably season 4 at that point. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like my point is that again, I'm a businessman, right? There's no end to the possibilities. It's just like the things they could do over there. My God, I mean, you got to see the things they're buying. Like, people, why are they buying all these movie rights? Like, I don't know, guys. Why would they be doing that? Why would they be doing it? And again, they're gonna go after the games at Sony. Like, I'm telling you, Sony's gonna get picked apart if they're not if they don't release a streaming service, which I don't think it matters at this point. I think it's far too late. I could be wrong. There have been last minute things that have been changed. If they come along and release their streaming service and it's like somehow more affordable than Xbox is and it's better and it comes with 15 other things, maybe. But I think this is
no.
Even saying the Stranger Things game would make perfect sense. I think you're gonna get a mobile game for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say they already had a Stranger Things game. It was not very good, but now maybe with more money behind it, it might be able to be better. But I mean, look, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with Sony. Like, it's not quite. I don't think their death knell is gonna ring just yet, but they are. Look, they're on their heels, and right now they're surviving. They're surviving on the good graces of the love of fanboys, basically. Because if you look at and look, and this is as someone who's I consider myself to be very frugal. If I'm looking, I have a limited amount of money. I have a limited amount of time to spend. If it wasn't for the fact that my job was to obviously have all the systems, I said it the other day actually on stream. I turned on my PlayStation for the first time in 4 months for this new game Forged in Shadow Torch. There is nothing on that system that makes me want to play it. Yes, now Deathloop just came out this week, the last of the Bethesda exclusives before Microsoft bought them. That contract was made before Microsoft bought Bethesda. It's only a timed exclusive, by the way. Yes, Deathloop just came out. There's a couple of indie games that Sony has on the way, but compared to what Microsoft has, compared to what the Switch has coming in Pokemon, like you're getting like 2 new Pokemon games in 6 months. You got Zelda coming next year. You just had No More Heroes 3 drop. Like, I mean, you got a new Metroid dropping in October. Sony, what do you have?
Wolverine.
Nintendo It's lapping you.
Yeah, it's I don't. Again, we'll eat crow if we have to, but they better do something.
Oh yeah, I eat crow all the time. These guys know it. It's the regulars here on Twitch.
They better do it soon, Ray, because I'm telling you, I am not. I would not be investing in Sony right now. Let me put it that way. The way they're going.
Yeah. So speaking of investments and business, this was actually a very interesting case. Almost a year ago now, I believe, we talked about this initially on the show. Epic pulled Fortnite from Apple mobile phones and the App Store because of what they felt were draconian methods and how much money they had to kick back to Apple for their in-game purchases. So Epic pulled the game. Apple, it was basically Apple sued, Epic countersued, and they both kind of lost. So in this case, the judge ruled very harshly against Apple, saying that basically that what they were doing in terms of their store was in a way a monopoly, and that they can no longer allow games on their store, or they now have to allow games on their store, I should say, to go to a third-party payment system if they so want. So in this case, like if Fortnite goes back to iPhones, they don't have to have the purchases through Apple where Apple gets a cut. They can direct their users to the Epic store, the Epic Online game store, and to buy your bits and your perks and all whatever, your coins there.
Right.
And basically undercutting the monopoly that Apple had in return.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say the equivalent of this, for those of you who don't know, so it's like Amazon, right? So, with my companies, we sell on Amazon, and Amazon takes a massive cut of what we sell on Amazon, although we do well on Amazon. I also have my online store. So I make more money when someone buys a product on my online store. We don't stop them from going to Amazon anyway, but I have the choice to bring them to my online store to buy the product. It's not just one place. So that's a good equivalent of like, look, if people want to buy it on Apple, that you can't stop them from doing that either. Right. But you should have the option to go there.
Well, and that's the thing, is that basically the judge ruled that Apple has to now give people that option because they weren't originally. Now, in return, Epic, because they were found, though, to be found in breach of contract. They did terminate the game from Apple earlier than it was supposed to be, was in writing. So they did have to pay Apple $4 million, which is chump change to them, and offer a public apology. But like, when you look at what, to me, Epic is the big winner here, right? Yes, $4 million.
The players are the
Apple
winner. The consumer is the winner.
Well,
right?
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, of course.
Yeah, and that's what happens when these companies kind of fight each other a little bit. But yeah, look, again, as a business owner myself, Apple will still make 10 times more money than Fortnite will on their website, but they have to be able to do that. It's just from a margin standpoint, it makes more sense. And what it does for those of you listening, like if you support a brand. And I got to say this, I'll use my own brand without mentioning it. I have no problem. If someone wants to buy my products on Amazon, I have absolutely no problem with that. If you're more comfortable with them, whatever, that's no problem. But if you kind of care where your dollars go, like if that's something you're very conscious about, which if you're not, again, it's okay. But if you're conscious, no, when you buy it on my website, I make more money. The company makes more money. The employees get more money because we control the margins of that.
You don't owe it. You don't owe the third party in this case.
I don't gotta pay Amazon anything. Yeah. I mean, I gotta play like Shopify cents, but it's not anything near what Amazon takes. So if I told you what Amazon takes out of our revenues here, shock you. I mean, it's a large number. But my point is that, look, as a business owner, I want people to be comfortable wherever they go, but I have the option, and I can also run sales on my website that Amazon can't. So if there's something like we just released a new product, Ray, that's on Amazon, but we're drawing people to our website with it because we get better margins. So again, for those the younger audience, what a margin is if the product costs $5 and I sell it for $10, these are not real numbers, but I make $5, right? So basically, if you were going to do this really quick, sorry for you trying to do high school. If it's $5 and I sell it for $10 on my website, I probably make $4.95, right? Because I got to pay 5 cents to Shopify or the host company, right? If I do it on Amazon, it's $5, sell for $10. I might legit make $2 or $2.50. Like they take a lot of money. All right. So again, you get the product no matter what. You get it in the best possible shape, as a consumer, but the money goes different places. All right. And again, we pay Amazon for the reach too. I don't want to. There is value in it. I don't want to act like there's no value in it. Right. It's just
No, of course. It's I mean, but that's just the general way. I mean, even here, I mean, it's different in terms of a product, but it's even here. If you subscribe to me on Twitch,
right,
you pay $5.
Right.
I only get $250 of that.
Right.
$250 goes to Amazon, right? Because to run Twitch, right? That's basically how it works.
Which is a good service. Right.
Right. So yeah, so it's like one of those, again, it's whenever you have multiple things involved, everybody's got to get a cut.
Right.
So if you can remove one of those services, well, it's obviously you got to keep a better
cut. Balance. I don't mind paying Amazon because Amazon does a lot for us. Right. That's why I'm not complaining about it. It's just like it, right. It depends on how you want to look at it. It's why a lot of people on Twitch have found other ways to get money outside of subscriptions and other things like that. So
right, that's the same
Twitch
thing.
If you want, right? Like Twitch is not stopping that from happening. That's my point.
No, that's even on my page. I have a donation link where you can donate right to my PayPal, and I get a much larger percentage than
Apple's basically telling Fortnite you can't do that. That is illegal. So.
Right, exactly. And that's how the judges ruled. And so now it's better for everyone because now the App Store is going to have some drastic changes, and this will help.
Yes.
Probably a lot of the apps that are out there.
You're tuned to
and you'll probably get Fortnite
with Ray and Lee.
Yes, and Fortnite will probably return at some point to the App Store, I imagine. Right, it's still too big of an audience for them to just ignore. So, speaking of big audiences, we had a couple of new trailers this week, which were a lot of fun.
I'm excited about
the first one. Let's talk about both coming out this holiday, but the first one is really right around Christmas. It'll be on HBO Max and in theaters day one. Matrix 4. Lee,
I'm very excited.
I was gonna say Matrix 4, Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah,
right is the official name. And I mean, look, we saw Keanu, we saw Trinity, we saw Neo, we saw Trinity, we saw young Morpheus. Yeah, we saw
what I think is the architect.
It seems like a lot of things have been reset. That's why they're calling it Resurrections in a way.
Right.
I'm really curious to see how they do this because we didn't get a lot. We saw some agents,
right?
But we didn't get, which is a mark of a great trailer. We didn't get really a lot of plot points. We just saw our favorite characters in action, and it got the hype train going.
I have two theories that I'm willing to put on the table, keeping in mind that this is one of those things where I will probably eat crow because it's never what I think it is. I have two theories on the table. The very easy one that I hope it's not true actually, because it'd be too boring, is that they have resurrected Neo, and that they've put him in basically his own personal matrix to keep him at bay, and that he's trying to escape that. That's the very basic one that I hope doesn't happen because it's too obvious, right?
Right.
Basically that they're just trying to control the one, and that this matrix is a prison for him to be with Trinity and so forth and so on. My other one, the little one that's a little more out there, the one that I think gets my brain going. All right. I have to preface this, that time works differently when you think of the Matrix in terms of film. So in the Matrix, we find out in the last film that it's probably, in the first film, they make it sound like it's 2,999. In reality, it's probably like 10,099 or something like that. Like how many times this has happened. So I'm wondering, Ray, if this is a prequel. I'm wondering if this ends up becoming a prequel, and that what we're seeing is actually an earlier version of Neo disrupting the Matrix to where they have to recreate the Matrix as the first movie. So if you're following Matrix canon,
it all becomes a loop.
It's a Matrix, right?
Yeah.
So if you're following canon, and this would be a really cool statement on society. In the first movie, Morpheus kind of famously says, 1999, the peak of humanity. To be fair, he's not wrong at this point in time. All right. 1999 really is. If you look at the last 22 years, 1999 really was kind of the last great time period. Not technologically, not, just in terms
of society, it's been a rough 22 years.
Yeah. I'm just saying it was the last carefree time, at least I remember in my life. There's no 9/11. There's no economic downfalls. There's no COVID, right? So
we're in the middle of a Yankee dynasty,
Right,
so.
right. That's fair. Right, so my point
for me, that was very important.
I'm just saying 1999 was a pretty fun time. All right, for most people. So
it was.
For me, it's like, what if this is just an earlier version of the Matrix that they tried to do this time period? It wasn't working, and they have to figure out a way to do it, and it actually leads to them creating the original Matrix. Now, a lot of people they don't like things like that. Like, it needs to move forward. I think that would be awesome. If this was how they set it up, it would explain why Keanu's older, why Trinity's older, why Morpheus is young. There's a lot of ways you could loop this back. And like I said, look, the whole thing with the Matrix, for those of you who haven't seen it, or like I said, Caitlin hasn't seen it, and I'm not, believe it or not, I haven't spoiled anything, Caitlin, and I'm not going to. But like, the idea is that the way the Matrix works is it happens over and over and over and over again. That's what a Matrix is, right? So this has to follow the same laws, right?
Yeah,
and that's what I think is going to happen. Again, Caitlin hasn't seen it. I didn't spoil it, I don't think. So the first one, and we're gonna watch it. But Matrix Resurrections, I think it's a prequel to the Matrix. That's what I think.
I think that's a very sound theory. I mean, it definitely sounds like it could be it definitely sounds like it could be something. Again, the whole idea of resurrection, the whole idea of starting everything, it could be. It could. I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing. Like, the trailer gave us so little, but there's so much that you could draw from it potentially. So it's exciting to. It's exciting to potentially see.
Vis-a-vis, concordantly.
Yes.
Systemic anomaly. If you remember the architect, and that was a great Will Ferrell bit from the MTV Movie Awards when that was still relevant. But our producer, Caitlin, we will watch The Matrix. I want you to see it. I have said to her, Ray, that Matrix 2 and 3 were okay. They weren't horrible. They weren't great. The Matrix 1 was a game changer.
Matrix 1 was terrific. Yeah, absolutely terrific. Yeah, it did so much.
I was explaining to her, you know the bullet time when the camera goes around, and it still looks good today. But I was explaining to Caitlin, guys, most of our audience probably doesn't realize this too. I'm thinking about it, but like, when we saw that in 1999,
it was mind blowing.
Nothing like that had ever happened before. That was real cameras. That wasn't like a CGI thing. Like. It was used in a Michael Jordan documentary before that like almost nobody saw, except for me, of course. But like, no one had ever seen bullet time before that. That movie inspired video games. Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, Max Payne, all bullet time. If you've ever seen bullet time in a game,
you go back to
that movie is where it starts.
I've
successfully merged the two topics together, so I feel proud of myself.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah, no, for sure.
And for those of you our age, we're getting old. It's not new technology anymore. They don't do bullet time anymore. That's just CGI.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Everybody did this. Everybody did this. The way, for those of you who are listening, we're doing the Neo lean back, arms waving thing. Like,
help. Whoa.
Yes. So,
again, just for those of you listening, very important to understand, because Ray and I do this a lot. There's a very big difference between the Keanu, whoa, right?
Yeah.
And the wow.
Yeah.
Different reaction.
Very different.
I would love to see those two in a movie together. Whoa. Wow. That's what I said.
Yeah.
You said whoa. I'm saying wow. 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 Okay, I'm gonna stop that before that gets annoying.
All right. Well, you know what else was wow. The Hawkeye trailer dropped this week. That first episode dropping over Thanksgiving weekend. It's very much taking a lot of inspiration, it looks like, from the Matt Fraction run about 10 years ago.
Massive amounts. Massive. I mean, they got Pizza Dog in there. I couldn't believe it. You've got the dog, you've got obviously Kate Bishop, you've got the tracksuit mafia. The bros, man. The bros are there.
Yeah. I mean, there was one great scene where we did see one thing in the trailer where the tracksuit mafia is going to throw a Molotov cocktail, and Hawkeye breaks the window, catches the cocktail, and throws it back at them. He breaks the window prematurely to make sure he can catch it. Like, it's just so brilliant and so Hawkeye. It was really the trailer looked great. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Really don't know who the big bad is quite yet, besides the tracksuit mafia, but I think that's cool too. Because again, Hawkeye,
I think it's gonna be them. I think it's gonna be them coming after him.
I think it could be them. There's still rumors that the Kingpin might rear his head at some point, which I think would be that would make sense. I would love that. Like, also, it's gonna be feel good over the holidays. It's very Christmas themed. Like, it takes place throughout the month of December, it seems, and the holidays. And just nice, cute little nods, like Kate Bishop. Obviously, she's a poor, she's poor before she meets Hawkeye. So her bow is like taped together, and she's using a tennis ball to like weigh her grappling hook down. Like it's just really, really ingenious little details we saw in this trailer that I think they're gonna pay off on and play out really, really nicely in the series, which I'm not sure how long it is. I'm gonna guess it's 6 episodes, but it could be longer. But I don't know. We don't know yet.
The best scene in that show, and I don't. This is cliche, but it's the best one is when he's going through his arrows. He goes, "That one's too dangerous. Definitely not that one." And she goes, "You don't have to say definitely like that." And then she fires one. I love that. She goes, "There's more dangerous arrows than that." The look that the face of Hawkeye that scene has. This is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be a fun episode. It's got like a buddy comedy feel, even more than Captain America and the Winter Soldier had, right? This because it's definitely more lighthearted.
Yeah, this is also right in line with like what happened after the blip. Like this is exactly where we're at. The other thing too is that keep in mind they're still in the future. They're still in 2023. So it's like Christmas 2023. I don't think,
and we know it's afterwards because
No. I was just gonna say I it's amazing that Marvel somehow skipped over the pandemic. Like in real like because they could actually say, oh no, that happened, but we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
If we were,
they're like it wasn't as bad in our universe because half the Earth was gone. So,
right. Yeah, actually it didn't happen because we had herd immunity. And people wore their masks and got vaccinated. Anyway, I was saying that this looks really fun, really great. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say we know it takes place after Avengers also because it starts with Kate Bishop stealing the Ronin persona that we know Hawkeye took on in Endgame when he was basically going on his quest. He was lost and he was on his quest for vengeance and taking out bad guys because he had lost his family because of the blip. So then he kind of even insinuates he's like, there's a lot of baggage with that mask and that suit. So it was well done. It was well done.
Should be noted that it looks like he's retired again, and he has hearing aids in. So for those who don't know in the comic books, Hawkeye is deaf. So that's not something they ever brought up in the movies, but he's got clear hearing aids in throughout the trailer.
For the trailers,
something's going on there.
Yeah, no, I think that was a very wise decision, very smart, and good for this was brought up several times. It's good for representation.
Yeah, I wonder how many people knew he was deaf though. That's the other thing too. A lot of people don't know.
A lot of folks. That is a detail about Hawkeye that often gets lost because even in the comics, it's not brought up that often. Especially amazingly, I know just even in our lifetimes how far hearing technology has come to the point where deaf people now have devices where they can hear something. Right. So it is amazing how far we've come. And speaking of how far we've come, episode 6 of What If dropped yesterday. Lee, have you watched this one yet?
You mean today?
Well, today, yeah. I mean, basically, yeah.
Yeah. No,
so it dropped.
You slept since you watched it. Yes, I did. I watched it this afternoon. Actually, Ray, I'd love to get your thoughts on this one first. This was an interesting one. Very, very open-ended. Like probably the most open-ended of the ones we've seen so far.
I agree. This one more than any other feels like there should be a part 2 next week.
Right.
Like it was another half-hour episode. I mean, right now, as it is, as a standalone, it is, I don't know, maybe I would say towards the bottom half of the 6 episodes. It might be my 4th or 5th favorite. I mean, it was solidly done. It is very much the idea of, so basically, for those who know, this is the episode where what if Killmonger prevents Tony Stark from becoming Iron Man by saving him in the desert, right? And there's this whole thing. And basically, it's interesting to see how things play out, where Killmonger reveals Obadiah right there at the beginning was the one behind everything. And like, so Obadiah Stane never becomes Ironmonger. And basically how Killmonger rises through the ranks and really playing, he's basically playing 3D chess with the whole world, basically on route to what he always wanted in the Black Panther film, which is to become King of Wakanda and become the Black Panther. And he does through with a lot of bloodshed. Right, we don't get the Avengers, we don't get there's no Iron Man, right? Like the spoiler alerts, a lot of folks die, including Tony. Claw gets killed. Claw shows up, he dies.
Rhodey dies. T'Challa dies.
Rhodey gets killed. Like everybody basically bites the bullet, and then basically it ends with a younger Shuri, because again, this is several years before Black Panther. a younger Shuri basically approaching Pepper and being like, Killmonger's playing both of us, and we are the only two who know it. Because Thunderbolt Ross is like, I love this guy. He built me a bunch of drone robots, blah, blah, blah. And Wakanda's like, he's a returning hero. And meanwhile, there's a very poignant when he becomes the new Black Panther. And obviously, he also kills Black Panther, right? He kills T'Challa.
Yeah.
And T'Challa meets him on the plane where all the former kings of Wakanda are, or would be kings. And it's basically one of the things that, ill-gotten power is a very dangerous thing to have. And he's like, even if you don't meet judgment on Earth, you'll have to meet judgment here one day. And Killmonger's kind of like,
okay,
whatever.
That's it ends on that.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you too is that a few other things too is from a canon standpoint, we have to figure like I'm gonna guess that Shuri is 26, 27, 28, or even maybe 30 in Black Panther.
In the films,
actually, she's not even that old. She's probably 27 or maybe 20. So like this is 10 years before that film. Basically.
Yeah, I was going to say, because she feels like she's 12, 13-ish here.
So, she's young. But that also means T'Challa's young. All right. So T'Challa's not that much older than her. So he's probably a teenager too. And they don't explain how he gets the Black Panther mantle that early.
Right.
Like they just have to assume he was Black Panther at that point already. But yeah, it was really well done in terms of the manipulation from Killmonger to do it. The only problems I had with this episode, Ray, it was enjoyable. I watched it. I didn't have any problem watching it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they didn't give the what if moment, like of how that happened. It seems like in every other episode, they explain like, oh, okay, yeah, Stephen Strange, Christine's with them in this episode. The zombies, something infected Hope Van Dyne. What's her name?
Yeah, Janet, and then obviously
Janet Van Dyne. Yeah. There's always a reason of this is what changed. And this one they didn't really say why Killmonger was there. They just said he was.
It just kind of was like he kind of was like, instead of saving his machinations for later, he decided to act
earlier,
sooner.
Yeah. And they do allude to it that like he was 700 clicks from his unit. Why was he even there? So something happened there.
Although he did have a great excuse in that basically he was like, I uncovered that Obadiah Stane was behind it all the time. Like they had,
there was a good reason, but they still don't say like what was the butterfly effect moment that made him do that. One thing I do want to mention before I forget is that the Watcher is becoming visibly more visible.
Yeah, he was here at least 3 or 4 times, very prominently looking over everything.
It's not like in the first few episodes, it was very kind of in the background. And then, obviously in the Doctor Strange episode, the Strange Superior, we saw him.
They confront each other. Yeah.
Right. And in this one, he speaks to us right at the beginning of the episode. So there's something going on there with the Watcher becoming more visible that they're going to play into that, I think, at some point.
I hope so. So speaking of playing into things, some teams might have already ready to play themselves out of a playoff spot. A lot happened in week 1 in the NFL. We are moving to sports now. Yes. So kicking off with last Thursday, I predicted the Bucs would win 38-20. If it wasn't for some poor turnovers from the Bucs, I might have had the 38. But the Cowboys offense under Dak, again, picking up where they left off. This is basically the Cowboys of last year. They can score. They can't stop anybody from scoring.
Right.
The Bucs did win, but if you were using me to bet and you were hoping the Bucs would cover the spread, they did not. If you're straight up though, I was correct. The Bucs did win. But it was a good game. It was a great opening game. It was exactly what the NFL wanted. Put up, I think 26 million people tuned in, which of course is exactly what the NFL wants. Huge number. So that was a big deal. And then of course there were
good on the Cowboys. I mean, Cowboys were in that game. I mean, seemingly outside, they split quarters in the second and the third, but outside they were in the game. I mean, they look good.
Yeah. Casey mentioned there was a nasty injury in that game. The cornerback, I think is Murphy Bunting, broke his arm. Terrible injury.
Fracture too. You could see it.
Yeah, his season is done,
His
if
career
not
might
possibly.
be done. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, if not his career. So thoughts and I hate to say thoughts and prayers, but hopefully
don't
he
hate
does
saying that. Don't hate saying. Don't let politicians take that from you on either side. There's nothing wrong with wishing somebody thoughts and prayers.
Oh yeah, I know that we're in the world nowadays. You can't wish anyone well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's one of those things. Like that's probably more one-sided, but I don't like that they took that away from people. If people want to send their thoughts and prayers, they should be able to do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, moving on. There was So again, hopefully he does make a full recovery and can play again next year. That is a big blow to the Bucs defense going forward, though. It was a big blow in that game because it happened early.
Only they had other players of note. that they could inspire other players of note.
Yeah. You know who I wish had players of note?
The
New York Giants. Well, I mean, your Falcons. The Falcons have players of note.
We'll talk about
the Falcons. The Giants averaged 13 points a game last year. They are maintaining that. They scored 13 against the Broncos, including a garbage time touchdown. For folks who say, well, it was 27-13, this game was actually closer. The Broncos got a late touchdown as well. It was 20-7 for much of the game. The defense did its job. You only give up 20 points a game. You should be able to at least be competitive in the NFL. The Giants offense continues to not be competitive. Everything I said in the offseason has come true in week 1. The offensive line looked like garbage. The Giants couldn't run the ball. Daniel Jones was making terrible decisions. Bad penalties along the offensive line were pushing the Giants out of the red zone. The Giants offense continues to look like a flaming heap of garbage, led by Danny Dumpster Fire. And the Giants lost by 2 touchdowns. The defense played well for a lot of the game. Again, it wouldn't even been 20 points if it wasn't for some magic from Teddy Bridgewater, who, by the way, looks like he's completely 100%. I do hope Teddy Bridgewater, one of the best stories in the NFL, remember a few years ago, if he broke tore both his ACLs, right. People thought he was done. He came back to the Panthers last year. He really showed he could lead a team. Now 1-0 with Denver. I hope Denver has a nice run this year.
Denver has not had a quarterback since Peyton. All right, let's just be honest about it. Yeah, it's been like 10, 11 quarterbacks since Peyton. They haven't had a quarterback.
Yeah.
That is what they need.
And I think they have one now. They have a solid defense. Again, also the Broncos have a solid defense, not taking anything away from them, but the Giants should have been able to put up more points than 13 points. A decent NFL offense would have scored more than the Giants did because the Giants had opportunities. But again, the same as last year, dropped passes, not being able to run the ball. Daniel Jones was our second. We had 60 yards rushing, 27 of them from Daniel Jones. I get that they also went easily with Barkley because they said that he was questionable going into the game, so they limited his touches. But he's got no backups now. You didn't re-sign Gallman, and you don't have anybody else to give the ball. Again, Devontae Booker is not the guy. He ain't the guy. I don't know who the guy is. Right now on offense, start looking to the draft. It's time to start looking to the draft already. It's week freaking 1.
Yeah, you shouldn't go there yet. Daniel Jones.
The team sucks.
Daniel Jones is 8-19 as the Giants starting quarterback. All right, that's disgusting. That is not good. And the thing is,
disgusting.
At some point, that has to stop. This is his season. All right, this is his.
I'm amazed nobody's cut his brake lines yet. Sorry, that's a horrible thing. I'm just saying, but it is Jersey. It is the Meadowlands. It is the Meadowlands.
Boy, we need to delete this episode if that ever happens. Look, Ray,
it's a joke, folks. It was a joke.
It's week 1. And look, on the flip side of this, it's week 1. I think it's far too early to judge any team. All right.
A lot of teams showed rust this week. That is fair.
Look, the big surprises this week are the Steelers beating the Bills. Almost the Bulls.
So completely agree. The Bills had a nice lead and then they gave it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, the Steelers had a 17-point fourth quarter. That was a little bit surprising. The other one that was surprising to me was the Packers just getting killed by the Saints. Not them losing. It's how they got destroyed.
38-3. Okay. Yeah.
And then that was a little weird. I don't know what's going on there. I think personally is there's just been too much turmoil around that team and they don't have a strong bond and it's going to come to kill them this entire season. You cannot win games if you're not together. All right.
And I think also the Saints came out super amped up. They had something to play for. They were playing in Jacksonville because obviously Hurricane Ida displaced them. So they wanted to come out and prove something. Jameis Winston in particular, a chip on his shoulder. I've said this a few times now. If he cuts down on the turnovers, Jameis Winston can be a great quarterback in this league. Well, he did not turn the ball over against the Packers, and they put up 38 points.
Yeah, here's the deal. Drew Brees is not the quarterback there. They just beat the crap out of the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers. So that says something massive. And again, they better get their bond together. All that turmoil in the offseason does not do a team good. I don't see how they're going to bounce back from that. I think they're in real trouble. That is one prediction I'll make right now. And the other surprising game is the Eagles over the Falcons, 32-6. I mean, I'm very happy with that score. I was not expecting Jalen Hurts to explode with Devonta Smith like that. I will be the first to say this in Eagles Nation. I know you're going crazy. Jalen Hurts jersey is number 2 selling jersey in the NFL right now. It's a great start. We played a horrible team. We have to see where they go from here. If they build on this, it's a great way to start the season. I'm not being negative, but it's one game. It's one game. We're an injury away from that not happening anymore. All right. So I want to see what they do in week 2. All right. Now week 2, Ray, is very interesting for both of us. All right. So
who do you guys play in week 2?
Well, you're playing the Washington football.
I know we play Washington tomorrow on Thursday.
Okay, and I'm kind of excited about that because that's going to actually be your real kind of test here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If we fall to 0-2, if we don't beat Washington, which by the way, they lost Fitzpatrick to a hip injury. Again, hope he makes a full recovery. But and Heineke's a solid backup. But if the Giants don't beat Washington and we go 0-2,
it's a problem.
I'm really worried about this season again.
Now
who do you guys have?
We have the Niners, which is another should win game.
That's intriguing.
Right?
That's intriguing. The Niners aren't terrible. They're definitely not as bad as the Falcons.
But here's what I'll say to you is that, and again, now I'm going to be a little bit of an optimist. The Eagles come in, if they can beat the Niners or dominate the Niners and then go to the Cowboys week 3, that could be very disruptive to our predictions for the NFC East.
Oh, I mean, here, I'll say this. I'll actually say this. If the Eagles go 3-0 and you beat the Falcons, the Niners, and then the Cowboys,
right.
I'm not saying you're going to win the division, but boy, oh boy, do you have one hell of a head start.
Well, this is what I'll tell you too. We play the Chiefs and the Bucks 2 out of the next 3 weeks after that. So, that's one of those things
probably losses.
It could flip us back, right?
Right.
But no, I'll tell you what. If they go 3-0, you split with the Chiefs and the Bucks. That's your division winner right there.
I mean, if you split with the Chiefs, you take one of those games. I think you guys are going to be. I think you guys will roll for the division because again, the Chargers beat Washington. By the way, the Chargers, even though they only won by 4, dominated Washington in the 4th quarter. Again, Fitzpatrick got hurt, but I said it in our predictions. I said the LA Chargers were going to be a playoff team this year, a wild card team. Not going to take the division from the Chiefs, but I think the Chargers are a team to watch out for with Herbert. Sure. Yeah. Another big upset this week. Not that they won, but that they as well destroyed them. The Cardinals destroyed the Tennessee Titans 38-13. You had Chandler Jones had 5 sacks, which ties a franchise record. JJ Watt seems to be very happy that he signed in Arizona.
Sure.
If this is a portent of things to come. Yeah.
I mean, he's motivated. He's fired up. Let's just be honest
about it. For sure.
That's a team that's bonded. That's a team that has something to play for. So, you know, again, Green Bay's got to figure this out. I don't like it when I'm trying to remember when there was like a massive quarterback controversy like this where a team did well. And I can't like the you know, people will always go back to Tim Tebow and then Peyton Manning come in. That's not a controversy. That's an upgrade. So, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, this is a little bit different. I mean, Ray, I'm trying to remember. I mean, look, Carson Wentz is a great example. There was a little bit of problems there. Look what happened to the Eagles last year. So there's a lot of things like this. And I think Green Bay is in trouble.
Yeah. Speaking of Carson Wentz, the Seahawks destroyed the Colts. Also, speaking of quarterbacks, good for Darnold. Sam Darnold went back to the played the Jets, and the Panthers beat the Jets 19-14. So a little. Yeah, I don't think you've seen any ghosts. He was busting those ghosts against the Jets. Although Wilson, I think that's the kid's name who plays for the Jets. Yeah, Zach Wilson. He had a decent game, especially he had a better second half than the first half. He definitely got sharper as the game went along. Which I mean, if you're a Jets fan, that gives you hope as the season continues. But, you know, again, 0-1 hole. The Rams destroyed the Bears. No surprise there. The Dolphins edge out the Patriots in what was a very close game, very defensive-heavy game for those two teams. The Texans beat the Jaguars. That was a surprise just because I thought with all their turmoil around Watson. But Tyrod Taylor came in and led the Texans to a 2-touchdown victory over a Jacksonville team that has now lost 16 regular season games in a row dating back from last year. That franchise is a disaster. And also want to point out a couple of other games. The Bengals beat the Vikings in overtime, which is good for Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati can be a threat if they can keep Burrow upright. If that offensive line gels, they are much like the Giants. Actually, they have a solid defense. They have a young quarterback. I think Burrow is on a whole nother level than Daniel Jones. Obviously, Burrow's actually got talent. But if the offensive line gels, that team will do much better than people were probably prognosticating in the preseason. Of course, we also had the Browns doing Browns thing, fumbling a punt late in the fourth quarter that led to the game-winning touchdown.
They're a contender, though. Let's just be honest about it. They're a contender.
They are a legit contender.
They look good.
And the Raiders beat the Ravens in overtime twice, depending on who you asked. But that was a great game, back and forth. The Raiders tied it at 24 late. Ravens went down, kicked the field goal. Carr puts together a last-second drive to get the tying 55-yard field goal to force it to overtime. Then the Raiders go down to the Ravens 1. They thought they had scored the touchdown, but the refs reviewed it, said, no, it's at the 1. Then Carr throws a pick. Then Lamar Jackson fumbles it. And then Carr throws a bomb, and the Raiders win 33-27. Do they build off of this? Probably not. I don't think the Raiders have enough talent to be more than 500.
Football right now, right? That's the point. Football is just so fun and awesome, and I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, we are both glad it's back. But yes, and definitely some interesting things. R31B, welcome to the chat. We actually just went over how we felt about Aaron Rodgers. Lee thinks, and I kind of agree, I'm starting to agree after how terribly they looked against New Orleans, that the Packers might be in trouble. At this point, there might be too much toxicity in the pool over there, or in the cheese curds, or however you want to describe it. But they
have a bond. They are not a bonded team. They are a controversial team right now, and if they can't figure that out, they're going to have a long season.
Yeah, it is going to be if he does have a bad year, if the Packers go something like, I want to put this question out there, like 2-6 or 3-5, and they're in like legit trouble, right? Like say somebody else in that division, because right now every team in that division is 0-1. Right. Everybody in the division lost week 1, the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers. But say Vikings go on a run, or Bears go on a run, or even heaven forbid the Lions go on a run. I don't see that happening, but who knows? And the Packers are like 3-5 and 3 games back. Do you bench Aaron Rodgers and see what you have with Jordan Love as quarterback?
I mean, it depends how the team is responding to him. I mean, like we saw this last year in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts came in to relieve Carson Wentz. There was a dramatic change in the team. It became pretty obvious pretty quickly who the quarterback was going to be the following year. And, and there was a lot of issues. The coach got fired. They brought a new coach in. I mean, so if it's not Rodgers, it's going to be the coach. So we'll see what happens.
So there you go. We mentioned Monday Night Football. I'm going to sneak this into the rundown briefly. Something big happened. This was actually a very interesting conversation that I heard on one of the wrestling podcasts I listened to, and I wanted to get some folks' thoughts. So for those of you who don't know, Big E was the Money in the Bank winner a couple of months ago. For those of you who don't know, he was originally called Big E Langston. He was kind of the escort to Dolph Ziggler, like the bodyguard type. And then he got obviously some notoriety with the Freebird rule with the New Day, where they shared the tag team championships. Exactly. And then in the last year, they broke them up, right? They put Kofi and Xavier Woods on Raw. They put Big E on SmackDown. Clearly, even though he's been Intercontinental champion before, clearly grooming him for a potential main title run, either as the Universal Champion or as the WWE Champion. Now, there's 2 schools of thought here. Something interesting happened in wrestling last week for the first time in years, and obviously the first time in AEW's existence. AEW beat WWE. We mentioned this very briefly last week in the 18 to 49-year-old demographic between Dynamite and Monday Night Raw. It's been a very long time since WWE has lost that demo. Yep. There are thoughts that part of the reason why, so for those of you who don't know, Big E cashed in. It was a great moment. It was a great moment. It was almost, not quite, almost as big as when Mick Foley won the title on Monday Night Raw 20 years ago. Big E cashes in. He called his shot. He put on social media 3 hours earlier before Raw saying, I'm cashing in tonight. I'm becoming champion tonight. That's awesome. Similar to, in a way, to what WCW did all those years ago, trying to spoil WWE. And instead what happened was everybody tuned in because they wanted to see Mick Foley win that title. So what ends up happening is of course, Big E wins. It's a huge moment. It's a beloved moment amongst wrestling fans everywhere, whether you're an AEW guy, WWE guy, Ring of Honor, whatever. It was a legit great wrestling moment. There's two schools of thought. One, WWE did this because they knew they were going to lose viewers otherwise to Monday Night Football, which probably would, first Monday Night Football of the season, I'm sure, we haven't seen the numbers yet, cut into what WWE normally does. The other is WWE scared, and that this was a direct response to AEW. And I'm kind of 50-50 on this, folks. I want to know what you guys think here in chat. I want to know what folks think at home if you're listening after the fact. And of course, Lee, I want to know what you think. Was this what they call a hot shot, where it's a knee-jerk reaction? They're pushing Big E to the forefront now because this wasn't the original plan, because they're trying to respond to AEW? Or was it something they've had in the works because they're like, it's Monday Night Football, we're going to lose in the ratings anyway, but let's see if we can't steal something back?
Yeah, that's exactly,
what are your thoughts?
I think that's exactly what it was. All right, like, again, look, I know it's like sports fans, right? The AEW fans versus the fans of WWE. Of course, they're pushing back. Now it's real. Now the game is on. We said this. The war is on. This isn't the pre-fight.
So you're thinking it's a response to AEW, not Monday Night Football?
100%.
Okay,
I do. I mean, you could say both. All right, but like, right. I don't think the WWE is interested in what football is doing, because I think they know they have their fans. Their fans are going to show up, and if you're a successful marketer, you're not trying to pull people away from something else. You're trying to talk to the fans that are going to enable you. So again, any WWE fan that's going to watch Monday Night Football, outside maybe the fans of the teams playing, that I mean, that's a little bit fair, but that's a small number when you look at the national numbers, the global numbers. They don't need part-time WWE fans. They need their WWE fans to promote the WWE. So they're giving back. So yeah, I don't think they're focused on the NFL. I think that's a very, let me rephrase that. It's a very small part of the equation for their decisions here. All right. AEW is why they're making their decisions. And now that we said the game is on, all right, they have to respond. Yeah. And I think that's what they're doing.
Well, and again, I mean, and this is why I draw parallels to what ended up happening with Mick Foley with WCW. Right. That was when WCW died, basically. Right. When they spoiled that Mick Foley was winning the title, everybody turned off of WCW. Everybody turned into WWE because they wanted to see the major title change live on basic cable, right? So, I mean, in a way, even though I guess, again, WWE spoiling it themselves, but having Big E go out to social media and announcing,
they had a prerequisite.
I'm winning.
They had a prerequisite for it. I mean, like I said, that's history. They know their history. I remember that when they used to record it, WCW used to give the results before, which is kind of a dick move, but I also understand why they were doing it. Like, you don't need to watch this. You can watch us, but it backfired. So look, I've been saying this since this thing happened. You don't sleep on the WWE. Okay. Like, Ray, you're about quality wrestling. I'm all for that too. You don't sleep on them. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. The other thing they're doing, Ray, is cutting massive amounts of salary and massive amounts of money right now. All right. They're dropping wrestlers for a reason. People, again, on the surface, like, oh, they're dropping everybody. AEW's picking up. And they're also picking up the cost. Yeah. Right. This is also a money war too. If AEW can bankrupt itself by growing too fast. Right. True. WWE is not going anywhere. Right. AEW can bankrupt itself if it gets too big. Its roster gets too big. They can't keep up. Something happens. People can't go to arenas anymore. So, like, I think WWE is protecting their cash flow. I think WWE is bringing it down to not 50 wrestlers, but 10 really good ones. They're going to start over from there. They know the game. Again, if you look at this on a surface level, like a sports fandom level, it's equivalent to me of being like, shoot the puck, shoot the puck, shoot the puck. It's just like, all right, thanks for that great in-depth analysis on what we you know, and a lot of fans are doing it. And don't get me wrong, Ray, I've said this 100,000 times, all right? I don't look down on anybody with that, because, like, that's what being a fan is. It's fun. All right. Yeah. Like, when I watch football, throw the ball, run the ball. Like, I say things like that. When you get in the business side of things, I don't want to say it ruins fandom, but you see things from a very different perspective. It enhances the game in some ways, but you lose something with that too. Money is the name of this game. WWE has much more money than AEW. Okay. You want to kill someone, really? I'll use Zemo. That's dead. You take the money away, is dead. So AEW, I mean, they're growing fast, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure they have revenue coming in. Yeah. but I don't know how much it costs to open up arena night. I don't know how much it costs to run a major pay-per-view. All right. And they're doing well, but if that wallet dries up, it's going to be a problem.
No, that's very fair. That's a very fair point. It's going to be interesting to see how things go going forward.
The NFL has more money than God, so I don't think the WWE even cares about that.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit. I don't think the Monday Night Football alone is why you suddenly, again, because the rumor, they had been building Big E to cash in on Roman Reigns for the Universal title. They'd been building that for months. And now suddenly to flip-flop to Monday Night Raw and go after the WWE title?
That was a direct shot back at AEW.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, you guys had a title change on Friday night. Oh, we're going to have a title change on Monday.
And everyone's going to start winning. Suddenly your tune on WWE's changed a little bit. It's not like you suck, you're horrible. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair. Hello there. Well, hello there.
To be fair, Monday Night Raw is still a bloated mess at 3 hours. Sure. There were easily 3 or 4 matches that would not make the cut in a 2-hour show.
Tell me this right now. This is where we stand right now. I will totally, geeks who like sports, this up for you. Right. Mm-hmm. This is the scene that's playing out right now. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. You underestimate my power. Don't try it. That's where we're at right now. I don't know if Anakin's going to jump or not just yet, but Anakin is the AEW. And Obi-Wan is very much
the young upstart.
He's bloated. He talks too much. It goes on too long. Obi-Wan has the high ground. WWE money-wise has the high ground. Don't try.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
I mean, and this is also a big time too, is that both shows, though, now that they're on the road touring again, I will say AEW handled the pandemic better than WWE.
Totally.
I thought the Thunderdome theme was a disaster. And their storylines
businesses
stagnated.
are always built in this time period. Businesses always come out of negative time periods in economic history. Some of the, I think it's like 8 out of the top 10 businesses in the world were built during a recession. Like that happens, right? What I'm saying is that, the WWE is back on its feet and moving now. Thunderdome was horrible. I agree with you. Okay. They lost The Undertaker. They lost some huge names. It was the right time to strike. But what I'm saying is, going back to my metaphor, actually, I'm wrong. Anakin's in the air right now. He has jumped. The question is, how is he going to land? All right.
Yeah.
And I actually don't think that's a bad metaphor. I think it's Anakin's jumped off the lava pit and he's coming for Obi-Wan. It's just, how are you going to land? For those of you who don't know, I'm going to go super geek mode.
Doesn't end well for Anakin.
No, super geek mode here. Yes, in the films, obviously Anakin loses the rest of his limbs. All right, in the Revenge of the Sith video game, in the alternate ending, he lands behind Obi-Wan and stabs him through the heart, then kills the Emperor and takes over the Empire, which is another potential outcome here.
That is a potential outcome. I mean, especially with rumors still circulating about WWE being ready to be bought by Disney and things of that nature. I mean,
it's over, Anakin. Don't try it. I mean, I'm telling you, that's where we're at.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun to watch. I'll say this: it is the most intrigued I've been by wrestling in years.
Everyone's gonna win if you do that too.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch and fun to see where they go. So that brings us to the end of our sports section, and of course the regular show.
I'm proud of my geekdom there. That was.
It was a very good analogy. You did very good. Yeah,
I've earned my geek card back tonight.
Yes.
Did
we ever take it away?
No,
did we take it away?
No, I've just been tired. But look, we got to keep in mind too. Sorry, the Eric Bischoff. I mean, guys, look, I when I was growing up, I never thought I'd see Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon on the same show together. Never in a million years. And then it happened every week.
Yeah.
All right. So you just you never know where this is going to go. And if you look at sports history or entertainment history, the end result is merging in some form. So no one really dies. And you got to look at the business and the money and the WWE has had 15 years by themselves to make money. And I'm sure they lost a lot. Yeah. I'm sure they lost a lot last year, but they were making football leagues for fun in their spare time. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Jericho has that kind of money. I think I actually would put my money on right now that they're operating at a loss if I had to guess. All right.
I would assume AEW is probably at a loss too, but Tony Khan has deep pockets as well. He's also a billionaire. He owns the Jaguars. Yeah. So maybe I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens though with AEW and
keeping in mind too.
Yeah, things going which is on as we're recording, by the way.
We gotta say this too. Dwayne Johnson will never leave the WWE. If that happens, it's a problem. And they haven't even pulled that card yet.
No, but it is also interesting though when you do see other guys like Mick Foley calling out. We talked about it last week, calling out WWE and basically being like,
but he's helping them.
Guys need to.
He's helping them.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
it's a wake up call, and I think that there's. I mean, again, they had an emergency meeting over the weekend. Did WWE? And that's again also probably why what also came out of that meeting is the title change.
We need to do something. We need to fire back. Yeah.
Part of the reason why again most of us think this was a hot shot is that meeting. And that even Vince and some folks, I'm sure there are some folks advising Vince, whether if it's not Vince himself, who are like, we need to respond. Right. We've been handling these guys with kid gloves, and they just hit us on the chin.
Vince McMahon just hit us on the chin. Is older, but he is a brilliant businessman. I would not sleep on Triple H. I would not sleep on Chris Jericho. This is a great situation for wrestling fans. In fact, I'm almost upset that and Ray will back me up on this, but I literally don't have the time to watch. All right, but I love hearing about it each week. I'm fascinated by the business of sports entertainment. I mean, keep in mind, people go, "Oh, sports entertainment's wrestling." It's all sports entertainment, all of it. It's just some scripted and some not. You know, like we say every week, the NFL and WWE are scripted.
Yeah, a fun story that I heard. I want to just get this in. A fun story that I heard this week. I know only WWE and AEW. Scripted.
I was the NFL is scripted. Yeah, right. Yeah, they call them
wink. No,
actually, I think the NFL is not scripted. I don't think they'd let a 44-year-old win the Super Bowl every year if that was the case.
Yeah,
it's a bad story.
Not to say there might not be a ref or two under the taking stuff under the table, but that's a whole other thing. I mean, we saw that in the NBA, but not to say the league as a whole is fine, but you never know. There might be a bad player or two out there. But anyway, that's a whole other topic.
Before you move on to the mashup, I gotta say this. I saw it's a baseball story. Oh, because baseball's devolved. Go ahead.
Before you get to the baseball story, one more wrestling story. Talk about that you want to watch wrestling now. Fun story. Dave LaGreca, who hosts the Busted Open podcast, which is focused on wrestling, is also the brother of Don LaGreca, who I used to work with at ESPN Radio, of course.
Great human being.
Yes.
Phenomenal man to work with.
And
we both worked with him. I keep forgetting that. We both worked with him.
Don and that's right, at the Garden. Yeah, the Don and Dave. Don is going to the New York AEW show with his brother Dave. Dave goes to all the shows in the tri-state area because it's his job. But Don is going. It's Don's first wrestling show. He's going to an AEW show.
Ever?
It's gonna be his first. No, since 1984.
Wow.
It's gonna be his first. It's the first time he's going to a live. And AEW. And Dave says the thing that my brother hasn't watched professional wrestling in 35 years. He wants to go see what's going on with AEW because it's drawing that kind of buzz. Wow. So I thought that was an interesting story.
That is interesting. You know, I'll tell you, Ray. It reminds me of the last time Ray and I went to wrestling at the peak of the Attitude Era. Really the peak, because it was Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero were still alive, and they had just won their dual championships the night before. I remember we went to the Raw after WrestleMania, which was probably the pinnacle of that era, because it all went to hell pretty quickly after that.
After Attitude ended, it became Ruthless Aggression, and it wasn't quite what it was as the rise of John Cena.
Yeah, John Cena. That's all you get. Anyway, who will become a great comic book character. Okay, quick baseball story for y'all. Ray, I you know, they're always saying things. Oh, when you think you've seen it all, right? Just when you think you've seen it all. That's my baseball thing.
Yes.
I saw a fan. This is my feel good story. A fan asked Angel Hernandez for an autograph. And I'm thinking, who asked that guy? And Angel took it, he signed it, he gave it back, and it was a legit deal. And I thought that was something I should bring up. For those of you listening who don't know, Angel Hernandez, probably the worst umpire in the entire MLB.
And has been for years. Yeah.
So a fan asked him for his autograph. So now we're enabling him. I just wanted that to be out there for all you baseball fans.
Well, this is the worst thing because again, the umpires are already starting to think they're bigger than the game. Like as Sonic mentions in chat, the autograph should go to Goodwill.
I thought it was
hilarious. I mean, again, the umpires are already starting to think they're bigger than the game, and it's just a joke. And
Baseball has got to change. Guys, I'm not
please automate the strike zone. Please automate the strike
you know
zone.
what? That would get me to come back. That would get me to come back, Ray. Really.
Tonight's Yankee-Oriole game, and I get the umpire was consistent, but this guy was calling the strike zone as if it was 1993. Like, it was terrible.
Yeah. How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Let's end on a high note. Let's go into the mashup. Yankees came back to win, by the way. So just real quick with the standings, the Yankees, Blue Jays, and Red Sox are all those three teams in the AL East are all tied for the last two wild card spots.
See, I just want the Yankees to make the wild card now, so I can go all the way back to the first episode about the ML preview. I was like, Ray, you get down the Yankees, you know what's going to happen. They're going to make the playoffs. And then we can replay that, and I can serve you.
Yeah, but if they lose, if they lose the what? But if they lose the wild card game, that's not making the playoffs. No, the one game playoff is stupid. That's not the playoffs. Right.
I hope they go deep now, just so I could. You're gonna be so confused.
I mean, if they get to the they just gotta get to the LDS.
I've been saying it all year. Just kidding. No, you're not like that. To be fair to you,
not at all. No, I've been very down on this team consistently.
Yeah. In fact, and even when that probably would feel good. That probably would feel good if they came out and just started winning like crazy. Like, wow, they really turned this around.
I would love to be wrong about this.
Right?
Yeah,
I know. There's State of the Yankees reports on your TikTok channel, Ray Carcillo. You should follow that if you're listening to this. I leaned into the mic to make my point. It's a little microphone trick that you may need to know about. If you follow him, Ray has been relentless on them, and with good reason. And I will not tip off our listeners tonight on how to get you upset with the Yankees. I've done it twice, and it's worked both times. For those of you, I'm not going to do it again. But leave Ray alone.
One of our regulars here in Twitch, who I don't think is going to be coming by very often anymore, because I kind of. I used facts to simply put him in his place.
Is it a Mets fan?
He's the Mets fan. And of course, he came on Twitch. It's like, we win. We own New York. We took 4 or 6 in the season series. And I explained to him, in the 25 years of interleague play, this is only the 3rd time that the Mets have won the season series against the Yankees. And as of right now, the Yankees are still in the playoff picture, and the Mets are 5 games out.
Sonic Cries as a chat. Ray owns that Mets fan. Look, I don't have a lot of patience for fan bases that are based on little man syndrome and or Napoleonic complexes. Not a good look. The New Jersey Devils do it. The Angels do it. The Anaheim Ducks do it. The Clippers do it. Just be you. That's all you need to be. We own New York. Yep. Nobody owns New York right now. Let me put it that way. Literally nobody.
That's actually true. Nobody's won a championship in a while. So
this isn't a joke. You know who owned New York recently? Ida, the hurricane. Okay, New York needs to get its crap back together. That wasn't a joke. I'm not trying to be funny right now. Okay, I'm being serious. Okay, New York needs to get itself back together, because when that city, as New York City goes, the country goes. I will say that right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can go on a tangent here, but I mean, obviously New York was never built to withstand these kinds of hurricanes.
That's my point, Ray, is that it's in hell right now. All right. But New York always bounces back. Again, I wasn't making a joke. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
No one owes New York right now. It's in hell. It will bounce back. New Yorkers always bounce back. Yeah. I'm going to say it again. As New York goes, the country goes.
And right now things aren't great, as you mentioned. So anyway. You know, we could use some of that water over here in California. They should build a big pipeline
right now. It is really
from New York.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It just started pouring outside.
I did. That's right. It was raining in the Baltimore Yankee games, though. So that makes sense that there's that whole strip that is getting more rain. Yeah. Like I said, we need to build a pipeline from the East Coast and send all the water here to the West Coast.
No, we're not sending anything over there. You guys figure it out on your own. We got our own problems here.
Okay.
That's very New York.
There's also science. You know what Israel does, which I read about this week, which is actually smart. They desalinate like the Mediterranean and other place, other water sources to have drinking water. And it's like, holy cow, we have the whole Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, it's not surprising to me that the only democratic leaning power in the Middle East is using science and technology in their ways to make things better for their people. That's all I'll say on that.
Anyway, yeah, not to go out too much on a tangent, but yeah, we could use some
I
water.
just
We
did,
could use so much.
and I won.
Yeah,
I won hands down.
You know,
No
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Just saying we could use some water here in the West Coast.
Well, come back to the East Coast,
not
man.
the one
It's raining right now. You can come back.
It's like they to bring in more geekum again, like they said in Jumanji.
Yeah,
a little rain never hurt anybody, but a lot can kill you.
Yeah, well, and you re-elected a mayor today, so that's good. A governor, excuse me.
Governor.
So way to go, California. You're really looking like a Mad Magazine article.
Yeah, to a $275 million waste of taxpayer money was this recall.
To recall it, and then on top of that, they paid you off to vote
and
for him again.
Nothing happened. Yeah.
Which I could have told you, by the way. I could have told you that was going to happen that way.
Again, we can go into this. We can go into a whole.
Welcome to Geeks Who Like Politics. I'm Dr. Lee MJ Elias. This is your other host, Draymond Armadillo. Welcome to Crossfire. Remember that? We should do Crossfire.
We could do that. We could honestly, but like, there's a whole thing with that as to like why. Look, they got enough signatures. Unfortunately, it's a dumb law in California, in my opinion. They got enough signatures, but California is a 2/3 Democratic state. It's a Democratic governor. Why would you have?
Yeah, it's never going to.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you have expected this to have changed?
It's California. So it's the definition of extra.
Yeah. There you go, and that's a perfect note to end this sidebar on.
Let's get out of this.
So we'll head now into our final section of the show. Of course, is our mashup. This is a good one. We talked about remakes, of course, with the Sony presser this week. A lot of remakes.
I only make good mashups.
Yeah, Lee did. Lee, this was perfect. He was ready for it. Knights of the Old Republic. We mentioned Uncharted. All that stuff. Remakes. What sports team from the past would you remake today? As Caitlin gets a dab here in Twitch chat, if you're watching the video, or you're here with us live. Lee, what team would you remake?
Man, all right. So we got to approach this with some rules, right? So the team has to be able to work today. So like, obviously the first one that comes in my mind is like, oh, I'd love to see the Broad Street Bullies again. Wouldn't work in today's game. The rules would just kill them right away. So as much as I'd like to see that, no way it would work. So I'm going to go football right away. Love to see the Iron Curtain again. It would totally work in today's game. It'd be very, very, very valuable in today's game.
I was going to say defense always wins championships. So the Iron Curtain. I was thinking the 85 Bears.
Sure, that's another great one.
Yeah.
So a lot of football teams that could come back. I would love to see Johnny Unitas play again. That's a totally different situation, right? But like, I think about in hockey. Hockey's tough for me because really before the 2005 lockout, right now it's like none of those teams could win in today's games, except. The only team I'd love to see probably try is the Edmonton Oilers dynasty, 84, 85, 86. I'm sorry, 84, 85, 87, 88. I wouldn't mind seeing any of those teams to compete today. I think they could compete today. Different game, but you're talking about Gretzky, Messier, Grant Fuhr. I mean, just the whole I think they had 8 or 9 all-stars on that team, literally.
Yeah, no, they were completely stacked and absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I was going to say, too, if you want to go in that vein, maybe like, what was it? Like the 91, 92 Penguins with Yager, with young Yager and Lemieux
easily
could probably make a run today. Like,
actually, that's a better one because like Lemieux never had a shot. So like, let me rephrase that. For those who don't know, Lemieux had lymphoma. He missed a pretty significant portion of his career. There's a good chance
in his prime.
He would have caught up to Gretzky. There's a good chance points wise, like he would be number 2 all the time. So I'd love to see that Penguins team as much as I don't like the Penguins.
I'm the same boat. Yeah.
When you go to baseball, this one's pretty simple for me. Anytime before now. For me. Actually,
the
late 90s would be a great time.
I was going to say the easy one for me is the 98 Yankees, that powerhouse team that, wasn't always swinging for the fences, knew how to make contact, knew how to pitch. What a concept.
Cardinals, maybe, even though they were bad with Mark McGwire. I mean, that could be interesting to watch.
Yeah. Sosa and McGwire before all the steroid issues and stuff. And then,
I think I got to say it just, Babe Ruth. I mean, those I'd love to see.
Well, if you go back to like Murderers Row, 1927 Yankees. Like, I would love to see. I would be curious to see how that kind of team would do in today's game. Actually,
I would too. I mean, we always hear about the hitting and the pitching, like they were out of this world. But who knows? Like, I don't know if Babe Ruth could hit off today's pitchers. They say they could.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. And the ballparks for different dimensions, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Yankee Stadium used to be 460 feet to dead center and 296 down the right field line. That's what it's called, the house that Ruth built. It was literally just so Ruth could pull all those pop flies into the short porch. So because there's still a short porch, I'm sure he would do well if he could catch up to 100 miles an hour fastball, which did not exist in 1920.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think, look, gun to my head here, I think the answer is actually pretty obvious here of like, and I have a very specific answer, right? It's it's a basketball tournament between 4 teams, right? It is the Bulls dynasty versus the Kobe Lakers dynasty.
Yep.
Versus the LeBron, whatever. Would pick a team, right?
Probably the Heat with Wade and
probably
Bosh.
the Heat or the Lakers last year. But yeah, I think the Heat's more fun, right?
Yeah.
And then the Celtics of the 70s.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw the Sixers in there, but I'm not going to. But those 4 teams in a tournament to truly crown the greatest of all time, I can't tell you who would win that. And everyone would tell you somebody different if they tried. So I'm going to say this again.
Oh, yeah.
Kobe's Lakers.
Because they're all different eras.
Right, Kobe's Lakers with Shaq,
early 2000 Lakers,
the Bulls dynasty with Rodman,
so the 95, 97, the second trilogy, the second three-peat, Pippen, Kukoc, Luke Longley at center, I remember.
And then I said also, LeBron with Miami, I think is a good one. The Celtics of the 70s, and then I mean, if I had to,
if you wanted to pick a fifth, I would say I would.
You know, like the Golden State.
See, I wouldn't say Golden. I hate to say, but I would say a second Lakers team. I would say the Magic.
Yeah, I thought about
the Magic Lakers.
I just didn't want to put 2 Lakers in, but look, why don't we make it 16? It's a 16 tournament now, and it's Lakers. And I can't ignore Golden State what they did.
That's fair. I think that's the most interesting thing is basketball. Is that basketball really is a dynasty sport,
right?
Like you'll have a one-off winner here or there, but for the most part, you can really dictate the eras by teams that have won multiple championships in several over the course of several years.
This is what I would say though. Like again, you look at hockey. As much as I'd love to see the '80s Oilers today, they'd probably get killed. All right, it would probably be good, but they get killed. I don't think Babe Ruth would be able to hit in today's game. All right. You look at football, the Iron Curtain would be fun, but long-term, they're not going to compete with today's athletes. When it really comes down
to it, they would need to put points on the board
right.
at some point.
The 6 teams we just named in basketball, I honestly cannot tell you who's going to win that. All right. We're going to try and discount the 70s teams right away just because of the time period of the game, but I think they could adapt. People would say Jordan, no way today with LeBron. I think the older teams have the less chance of winning. But if we're going to go modern teams, the Bulls, the Lakers with Kobe, the Heat with LeBron and D Wade,
Dwayne Wade,
and then the Golden State Warriors, I cannot tell you who's winning that tournament.
Yeah,
that's why I want to see it. So, 2K Sports, please make this happen. I trust you. I don't trust you, but please make it happen. Sonic Cries says, I think Babe Ruth would be able to hit. You got to think when he played, all he did was drink and smoke and didn't lift any weights. In today's game, if he got fit, he would hit bombs. Okay, well, Sonic Cries, I agree with that. If he was born today, sure. But like I'm saying, in that form, I don't know if he'd be able to. I don't think he'd be a bad baseball player. I don't think, don't get me wrong.
No.
But I don't think he'd be Babe Ruth in today's game. We'll never know. All right. But I
no, of course. It's fun to speculate.
If Mickey Mantle was an alcoholic, who knows what that guy would have done long term. So, you're making a fair point, Sonic. I'm just saying, if I dropped, this is why I went with the basketball one, because if I dropped any of those players I mentioned in any other sport, if I dropped Jordan in his prime against LeBron, against
his prime
Kobe, I can't tell you who's going to win. I really can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funny thing is that like you look at, and they kind of all passed, but especially in basketball, we learned about this when you watched The Last Dance, and it really made me think, and it's true. Even, the Pistons of the 80s passed it along to the Bulls, right. And then Jordan passed it along to those Lakers. Like he gave Kobe advice all the time, and Kobe would pass it along to LeBron. And like, it's very fascinating to think of the baton passing there between all the teams, and even then, the Celtics of the 70s passed it on to the Lakers of the 80s, passed it on to the Pistons of the late 80s.
And that's in a lot of sports. That's in more sports than you think. Like I was just talking this conversation before. Like, let's just use hockey, right? Chicago Blackhawks had to get past the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. They couldn't do it for years. And Detroit really taught them how to do that, right? Same thing with Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh just couldn't get past Detroit as well, right? Washington couldn't get past Pittsburgh. I mean, the Lightning couldn't get past anyone. Now, look at that, right? So,
and even going back in history, we talk about it all the time. The Islanders teaching the Oilers in the 80s.
Right. Islanders are on that road again right now, but reverse.
And I was going to say the Islanders now 2 years in a row learning from Tampa Bay. We always say it. Why, as much as I hate to admit it as a Ranger fan, watch out for the Islanders again next year. But
that's true. Look, if you look at the Metropolitan Division, we said this in our preview. Those teams are not built to beat the Lightning. I'm sorry, they're built to beat the Islanders. The Islanders are the gold standard of that division, whether people want to admit it or not. They haven't won the division, but they're the best team in the division. Now I'll say this again: we'll have a full NFL. We'll have a full NHL preview soon. And again, you're gonna think I'm being a homer here. I think the Flyers have completely made the right moves to win that division this year. All right, but we'll see. So stay tuned for that NHL preview. That'll be coming up in a few weeks. I'm excited about that for all of you NHL fans out there. My name's Lee, and I live hockey.
He does. Yeah. He is hockey, folks. He is hockey.
I do a little bit. I do a little bit in the game.
Yeah, it just a little.
Probably like 86% of my week.
The other 14% is here with you. So we're gonna let Lee get back to his week in hockey as this episode is basically wrapped up. This was a fun one. This was not the good one, I think. I mean, they're all good, but this one I think we brought a little extra something.
Good topics tonight. Good topics tonight. That nap I took before paid off.
You know what naps usually do? If you get the right amount, if you get them the right amount. I took a nap. I actually took a nap. I was going to say this, but I actually took a nap before as well.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's off. Like, I'll tell you something funny. I went for a walk with my daughter and our producer Caitlin, and I came back in the house. I didn't say I was going to take a nap or anything. I just kind of sat down on the couch, and then it was time to do the show. And I woke up and I did it. That was about an hour before. I just kind of sat down on the couch. I was like, I'm just going to lay here for a minute. And then Caitlin goes, "Hey, wake up!" I was like, "Okay." And then
Caitlin texted us and was like, "Ray Lee's sleeping," and I'm like, okay, like, wake him up. I don't know.
I'm up, and I came up here and Ray's like, "You all right?" I was like,
It's all good. It all comes together. It happens, honestly, a lot of the time it's the vice versa. So typically Lee's ready to go. Me, I'm grumpy and grumbly and all that's good. I'm coming right from work. But today I was clicking on most cylinders, I'll say. I won't say all cylinders, but Lee, as always, we're always ready to play when the first whistle, when the puck drops, when the first pitch is thrown, when the first whistle blows, we are here and we are ready to go, and we are.
Don't forget kickoff.
Kickoff. Yeah, kickoff. So yeah, there you go. Jump ball. Yeah, we're good. Okay. They get the point. I think they got the analogies. I think we're good. But thank you all for the curtain is up.
The spiral camera at a WWE event.
Yes. Right. Yes. We are here live at Madison Square Garden for
the capacity
Monday Night
crowd.
Raw. Capacity crowd. But yeah, we had a good crowd tonight here on Twitch, and of course we appreciate everybody who watches or listens at home after the fact. It always means a lot to us. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon. The whole 9 yards. Yeah, exactly. Everything and anywhere. Let's see. Sonic asks real quick. We talked about. We go back in Sonic. We talked about the Washington Giants before, but yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Also, special shout out to Caitlin, our producer, who now is going to have to edit all this and get it out. So I appreciate it, as I do appreciate it as always. And yeah, I appreciate all of you. So for Lee, I'm Ray. Have yourselves a great rest of your week or weekend or whenever you're listening to this. We appreciate it. See you all later. Good night.